I'm Abby.
And I'm Uchenna.
And this is Shine Your Eye, a podcast about the good and the wahala, here at home, back home, and around the world.
So join us as we inform, inspire, and enlighten all that shines bright in our community.
Welcome to the first episode of Shine Your Eye. In this exciting debut, your hosts, Abby and Uchenna, kick things off by sharing who we are and the vision behind the podcast. We want to answer the obvious questions. Who are we? Why are we podcasting? And what can you expect each episode? So first, what's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So, Uchenna, what is your name?
My name? My first name only?
I don't know. I think there's some history behind all of our names.
True. So my name is Uchenna. Uchenna is Igbo, the southeastern part of Nigeria. Uche means will, and Ina means father or God. So God's will, and may God's will be done. And yours?
Amen. My first name is Medinat. And
interesting. I know you as Abby.
Yes, everyone knows me as Abby. In fact, I'm sure people are like, where does Abby even come from? We'll get to that. Medinat, and my grandmother, who is Muslim, is the one that got to choose my name. Mm-hmm. And she would not say it the way that I said it. She would say Modinat. So Medinat comes from the second most Muslim capital, so Mecca and Medina. So when I tell people how to pronounce it, because people always ask, how do I pronounce it? And I say Medina, and they're like, Modinat? Nope. Modine? Nope. Medina. There's a little T at the end.
Got it. Okay. Usually when I see Muslim names, especially in Nigeria, the T is silent. So in your name, it is not silent.
It is.
It is silent.
Ish.
It's a flap,
yes,
not a hard T, but a light tap T.
Exactly. Exactly. So what about your middle name?
My middle name is Christy, which sounds very American, and I guess it is, but it's also Latin for I guess Jesus Christ, and the way that in Igbo is Jesu Christi, and it's spelled the way that I spell it with a K. So even though it is a common name, it is spelled like we do spell it in Igbo.
Okay, lovely. Mm-hmm. Is Christy the name you use when you go to restaurants?
It is, and also when I meet people and I don't want them to know my name.
Okay.
Christy is the name that I often give. I've given it several times in the past.
Okay. My middle name is Abiodun, and that's where Abby comes from. It is Abby, the way that I spell it, not EY and not ABI, which is what all the Nigerians want to call it or spell
because of what name? Abiodun is what I assume, right?
I guess many Abbies in Nigeria go by ABBEY, and they also pronounce it Abe. But I'm Abby. That's my middle name. Mm-hmm. And it means born during the time of celebration. So Odun is a celebratory period. So that's Christmas at the end of December and the New Year at the beginning of January. My birthday's in January, so that's why they named me Abiodun.
Okay. And are we discussing last names or not?
Why not? Sure.
Well, I won't say my last name. But the first part of it means peace. And the second part means heart or family. So if you're Igbo, you know what my name means. But it's peaceful heart, peaceful family. So that's what my last name means.
You know, in Nigeria, I think probably all of the cultures within our country, our motherland country, names and meanings are very important. So I think it's cool that we're going through our names. My last name is Kotun. I don't know what Kotun means. I probably should have looked that up. And now I'm hyphenated. I decided to hyphenate my last name with my husband's last name. So his last name is Thomas. And as much as I hated having an odd last name growing up, I didn't want to lose the Nigerianness of my last name. Although I also would like to share a last name with my children. So that's why I hyphenated. Okay. So Kotun Thomas. Maybe another time we'll talk about how many English last names there are in Nigeria and what that says. Yes. But not today. A question for today.
Not today.
So how's it been walking through your life with your name?
So it's a reminder. I was somewhere recently and there were a list of names and I don't remember where I was. And when I saw someone look funny at the list of names, I said, oh, maybe that's me. So you remember the first day of school and there's a substitute teacher. They would, when they got to and looking funny, I'm here, it's me, So that's one thing. And then people saying, do you have a nickname? And that's kind of one of my pet peeves a bit, because I think if you can learn anyone's name, you can learn mine. So I'd prefer someone ask me, how do you pronounce your name?
Yes.
Or, spell it and say, can you tell me how? So I appreciate that when people try
Right.
at first to say, oh, I'm not going to call you that. No, you're going to call me that, especially in a professional setting or you're just getting to know me. My friends and family, they can call me nicknames. I do have them. But when you're first meeting me, I would like for you to try my name.
I agree. And I think most people who say that, like, oh, I'll just call you, or do you have a nickname? If I give them the benefit of the doubt,
let's do that.
They don't mean anything by it. But if they would like to not offend and not microaggress,
yes.
it would be best to ask for the pronunciation. Now, I am aware that many people who were born and raised here in America and don't have access or experience with a lot of languages cannot hear. So
yes, very true.
We might tell them how to pronounce it and they still might not get it right, but they should at least try. At least try. So, and ask for how to, the pronunciation written down, I can't remember what it's called.
Phonetically.
The phonetic pronunciation. And then try. But at least try. And then let me tell you, you can call me Abby.
Exactly.
Not that you've made up a name for me as though I was someone's slave. So neither here nor there.
Yes.
So where did you grow up?
Born and raised in Houston. I know that's kind of less common nowadays. Houston has become a place where many people move to. But born and raised here in Houston. My mother is actually African American. And she was born in Austin, and she moved here as a child. A little quick story is that my grandmother was born here, but my grandfather came to Houston to go to Jack Yates High School, which is at the time still segregated here. The schools were segregated, and he didn't want to go to the school in Austin, so he came to Yates, and he happened to be on the same street where my grandmother lived, and the rest is history. He was like a star athlete. He even got a scholarship to go to college. And even my grandmother, so I think about that, in the late 50s, an African-American woman here in the South, here in Texas, also received a scholarship to go to college, but instead she got married and had kids, which probably would not happen today. So, quick background story.
I wonder, how did you find out this history from them? Did they just sit you down and tell you? When has it come up?
It came out in the last few years from my mother. My mother told me. My grandmother never said anything about it. My grandfather didn't say much, but relatives would say that he passed when I was very young. So, I didn't know. I didn't know all this about my grandmother. Also, my mom was raised here. They moved back to Houston later on, and then my dad moved from Nigeria, and he went to Texas Southern University, and things happened, and he met my mom, and the rest is history. Okay. So, yeah.
Okay. I grew up so I wasn't born in Houston, but I got here as fast as I could. I was born in Providence, Rhode Island.
Interesting.
And 10 days later, they came on over, and I've lived here basically ever since. I think most of my growing up, my early years were in Alief, Texas, Southwest Alief, Texas, the SWAT. And then when I was in the 5th grade, we moved to Missouri City, Mo City.
Okay.
And I started going to Hunters Glen Elementary. Shout out to all of my Mo City folks out there. I went to Missouri City Middle School, Woolridge High School, and then Hightower High School.
Very definitive Mo City.
Yes, all through and through. Hightower was kind of cool to go to because we were part of the first graduating class.
Okay.
So, my first year there, I was a sophomore, and I was an upperclassman because we only had sophomores and juniors, and then we were like that until we were the seniors, and we finally had all of the sports and all of the grades. And I went to Hightower to be part of the engineering academy.
Okay.
So when I was a freshman and going to Willowridge, I really wanted to go to another school. So I applied, and that's how I got into Hightower. I didn't know, but I would have been zoned there anyway, but we didn't know who would be zoned where. And it was actually still like a 25-minute drive away from
far.
home. Yeah, we bussed through all kinds of places to get there. So that's how I made sure that I got to go to that school. And that kind of shaped me because even though I liked math and science, I did not know that I wanted to be an engineer. I don't have any engineers in my immediate family. So yeah, where I grew up kind of impacted who I am today. I'm sure that's true for everyone.
Yes.
Where did you grow up in Houston?
Southeast mostly. I moved around a lot as a young kid. I didn't stay in any school more than 2 years, most were like one. We moved around a lot. Not until middle school did I really, stay there all the way until I left for college. So Southeast Houston, actually Pasadena ISD. So I was really Southeast. I was in Houston, but I was far Southeast of Houston. Went to South Houston Elementary, went to Queens and South Houston High School where I graduated. That was like the only dot. There was very few of us, maybe 10 or so.
Who's us?
Certainly African-American Black people. I was only Nigerian there.
What were the rest of the people?
African-American or Hispanic white, mostly Hispanic and white. So it's interesting growing up. I didn't grow up around many Black people. And I feel like my experience growing up in Houston was a lot different than other Black people, especially Nigerians that I've got to know, because there wasn't much of the African booty scratcher things, because I think that the white Hispanic people didn't know about it. They didn't call those things. So I didn't get a lot of that. So I had a little bit, but if I did have that name, it was from the other few Black people that were in my growing up. So, and I always wanted to be around more Black people growing up, but it didn't happen. And, I think also I just have different experiences with Blackness and what that is and hair texture and all that stuff, because it wasn't really an issue growing up.
I have the same experience until 5th grade. So I remember being in like elementary school classes and being the only African American person in the room. And I had nappy hair because I have always had the thickest hair, and my mom hated to do my hair. So she did the best she could. And I remember looking at my pictures and I'm like, what is going on here? But no one ever made fun of me for it. Until the 5th grade. No one ever called me an African booty scratcher until probably middle school when the substitute teacher couldn't control the class.
Right.
I was made fun of for my skin color, which I think I'm brown now, but back then I thought I was blackety black. I'm not going to say I've never experienced racism in this country, but it was not at the hands of white folks in grade school. It was, if anything, it was my Black brethren, but it's all good because now it's good to be Black. I mean, it's good to be African.
It's popular to be African, right? Especially Nigerian here in the U.S. It's very popular.
So what is your claim to fame? What do you love learning about and talking about?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm just a potpourri of knowledge, I feel. I like everything. I can discuss anything from science to pop culture to art, anything. I just enjoy that. One of my girlfriends told me I should try out for Jeopardy. So I'm thinking maybe one day I need to practice for that. So I just think that I just have a hodgepodge of information. And I think locally, people come to me for events that are happening or where to go, what's the latest and greatest place to check out, and probably some advice too. A lot of people come to me for advice. How about you?
So I'm a lawyer, and I think we'll get to what we do. But I don't know. I always wanted to be a lawyer, but I also kind of just wound up here eventually, I think. So a lot of what I, pay attention to is legal. So politics is included. And then I'm a techie. I love all things, how does this work? What's new? What's cutting edge? I think we share that in common. You
Mm-hmm.
put me on game all the time. I'm not sure I'm using that slang term properly, but so yeah, that's the type of stuff that I like learning about and talking about. I think you've omitted gist. I think that's
True. I forgot, which we'll be discussing later in other shows. But yes, gist. I'm always knowing the gossip and things, and especially with TikTok, which I'm glad that America has it for now. Let's see how long we'll have it. Side note, did you know, speaking of topics, that if you still have the TikTok app on your phone, many people deleted it. There is now a market for phones that still have the TikTok app on it because you can't get it now.
You
And the
can't
app,
download
you
TikTok?
can't download TikTok now.
So you mean if you hadn't told me to download TikTok, I'd never be able to get it?
You wouldn't be able to, at least now, and so if you want to sell your phone to someone, if you go on eBay, they're going for thousands of dollars. But that's a side note.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's a side note. But yes, I enjoy the latest gossip that's going on for, around the world. That's on the blogs, social media. Yeah, I'm your girl for that.
Okay. So what do you do for work, and how did you end up there?
That's a long story, but I'll keep it brief because we're only a 30-minute show, more or less. So I'm a speech language pathologist by trade. I've done many things before and during and going back to. I went to work for tech for a bit. I worked for the government. I am now back currently working as a speech language pathologist within a local school district, and I'm so happy. I feel like I'm back in my space. I enjoy working with little children the most and helping them and their families, especially those who are probably lower income, underprivileged, because they oftentimes they're not receiving the best of the best. And I try to give that in everything that I do. I've worked consistently with Title I schools, which tend to be those who are lower income, high population of those who receive free lunch, those who are on Medicaid. Those are my gist. I'm currently working with the school with a large population of those who are in the shelter, the Star of Hope, which is a local Houston shelter. So I really enjoy that population, and I've done other things, but really speech pathology is my main thing.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I already said I'm a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
but I started out as an engineer because of where I went to school.
Yes.
I was able to get a free ride to the University of Houston, and I studied chemical engineering there. And then I worked at an oil and gas company for 8 or so years. During that time, I was able to move to California. I did technology. I have a patent with that company for some of the work that I did.
Awesome.
I learned upstream. I learned pipelines. I learned project management and business and analysis. And then I went to law school. I went to law school part-time and continued to work full-time. In law school, I first thought I was going to be an intellectual property patent lawyer. I took some classes on those. Those were among my most boring classes. No offense. And then I tried to do a little bit of that over the summers, and I was like, I don't want to do this. This is not why I went back to law school and accumulated these loans. And so I found myself in labor and employment litigation, and I love litigation. It's your, what's on TV depicted as a lawyer practice. So I'm board certified in labor and employment law. I work now at a financial institution doing litigation. And I really just like disputes and arguing. So maybe that's part of
the reason why
we're here. So before we move on to what the podcast is about, I figured we'd do a little bit of rapid fire, and maybe we can limit ourselves to 5 minutes and actually being rapid in our response to the questions. Okay. All right. So maybe you guys can learn a little bit about us through our preferences on some of these things. Mm-hmm. So I know your answer, but jollof rice or fried rice?
Neither. I'm not a rice girl, but if I had to pick one, it would be fried rice.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And for you, suya or barbecue?
Suya. Of
course.
What
is suya? Can you tell us?
Suya is grilled beef or other meat with a peanut sauce or ground peanuts, spicy most of the time. And oftentimes on a stick, although not always on a stick. So kind of like a kebab.
True. Yes, that's a good one.
Afro beats or hip hop?
Afro beats, definitely. I really don't listen to hip hop anymore because of I love the beats, of course,
Yeah.
but it's the language and the topics. It's just not for me. So I'm glad to have Afro beats where there's a lot more range, but not all the time, but a lot more range in the topics.
Yeah. I mean, we're not. I was about to say something, and I don't want to turn us to rated R, so it's okay.
That's okay. Wizkid or Burna Boy?
Burna.
Interesting.
Oluwa Burna, for sure. I don't pay attention to the negative news on him as much. I probably should. In fact, whatever was going on earlier about from him and somebody else, I
Chloe, is that or no?
No, the Cubano or whoever it was.
Yes, Cubana. And remember, he got someone arrested for talking about him. Yes.
Yes, he's had guns and, lots of things. But anytime he comes to town, I'm down to go and pay lots of money to see him. So Burna.
Okay.
Nigerian wedding or American wedding?
Definitely Nigerian. It's a lot more festive. I believe you're usually bigger. I like the money that's sprayed and the vibrant colors.
Yes, very colorful. Early morning or late night?
Early morning, definitely.
Okay.
I love early morning talks and conversations.
Awesome.
Dancing or singing?
Singing. I love to sing.
Do you sing any professionally in some way?
No,
or?
not professionally.
Okay.
I sing at church and in the shower. Work hard or work smart?
Definitely work smart. I am a big proponent of using all the resources available to you, whether that be ChatGPT or an assistant. Use them.
Agreed. Cooking at home. Oh, wait, I asked that, but I'll ask another one. Cooking at home or eating out?
Definitely eating out. Like I said, I've worked smarter, not harder. Whenever I can, I cater my food. So, yeah.
Sounds tasty.
So might as well eat out. How about partying or Netflix and chill?
Netflix or chill. I like parties, but I don't like getting dressed for parties.
So true. I'm like, why am I getting ready for this? But
yes.
yeah.
And then right now I'm not on time to anything, but I've always had this thing where I'm like, how late do I need to be so that I'm not the first one at this thing?
Exactly. Right.
There's a lot of time that's eaten up by just trying to figure out how to not be the person helping them set up. So, texting or calling?
Texting. I don't have time to call everybody. There's only a few people I want to talk to.
So if she talks to you, that's a good sign.
Exactly. Money reigns at a party or VIP access?
VIP, I think. I'd like to be special, sit at the special table, the high table, or be treated specially. And I don't know, unless you're the one doing the party, you're not getting that much money at a party. Like, they're not spraying you very much, right?
Well, I will say I went to a 40th birthday party last month, and I was sprayed for dancing. But the person wanted my number. But,
of course,
yes. But I left with like $50, so that was nice.
So $50 of VIP access.
Well, okay. I will say, if this is a party like a club, I like the VIP access, but I also miss the time before sections.
Oh yes, this is
true.
So
I don't know.
This is true, which is probably why I don't go out as much anymore, because it feels different than it used to.
It does, yes.
Spend 24 hours with no internet or no sleep?
No internet.
Okay.
If there were an award given at the Olympics for sleeping, I wouldn't even get gold. I would get platinum. I can sleep on a dime, and I'm so good that in the sense that if I say I'm only going to sleep until, for example, 12:13, I will wake up at 12:13.
Wow.
It's something crazy I have, but I can do it. 15 minutes, I say I'm going to sleep, boom, I'm up.
Nice.
So definitely sleep is a priority for me.
That's not me. Okay, so I hope that you guys have learned a little bit about us through our rapid fire answers to questions. So now let's talk about why we are podcasting and what inspired us to start this podcast. You first.
Well, Abby inspired me. She contacted me and said, would I be interested? I said yes, but I am an avid podcast listener. A few of my favorites are The Read. Now I'm going blank on other, but I listen to one by Ebony K. Williams. I can't remember the names right now, but I listen to many of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's something I enjoyed. I was listening to Shannon Sharp this morning. Well, it took me a couple of days in
Shay
listening to, Club Shay Shay. I really enjoy that. And even though he got a lot of, I guess, negative feedback about his style, he's still winning in this. And he continued.
Yes.
He just continued. So I enjoyed this medium. How about you?
I think you are the reason that I wanted us to start a podcast. Yeah. So I'm not that avid of a podcast listener. Mm-hmm. I'm an audiobook listener.
Love that.
More than podcasts, although I've been watching a lot of podcasts about podcasting recently. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to discover the genre more. But you and I have discussions all the time in various groups about things. Mm-hmm. And I think that we are just, yin and yang. And I think that what we're going to make together will be magical.
Magic. Black girl magic.
Yes. So if you could, let's come up with 3 words to describe our podcast.
I want to say something about our identity. So Nigerian.
Mm-hmm. Current. Yes.
And entertaining.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was thinking of interesting.
Yes.
So those are our 3 words: Nigerian, current, and entertaining. All right.
Okay.
All right. So the title of our podcast is Shine Your Eye.
What does that mean?
Oh, so Shine Your Eye is a Nigerian phrase. And of course, I'm going to bring out my Nigerian accent. Like, shine your eye. Like, open your eyes. Keep your head on a swivel. I think that phrase is used on SWAT, the show SWAT with the heartthrob.
Not from. Okay, why are we going blank on names? Right. You know who we're talking about.
Exactly.
Shamar Moore,
yes. Keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention to the things that are going on around you. Like, it's used often in Nigeria to be like, look, you going somewhere where you need your wits about you. Right. Don't get pickpocketed. Mm-hmm. Don't get got. That's what shine your eye means. Why are we using that as our title?
We want to enlighten, like we said earlier, our listeners and the community about what's going on in our community, around us, and just let them know of some good things that are happening in the world around us.
Absolutely. So it's more than a saying. Shine your eye is more than a saying. It's an invitation to you to stay alert, aware, and to be reflective. So what you can expect each episode is real talk, like we're doing now, laughter, and insights on navigating life as multicultural individuals. What else can we expect? Or what else can they expect?
So just fun, that's what I want to say, but just some current things that are going on. We're going to do some deep dives into our personal lives and how they relate to some current events that are going on. So it'll be some personal, some fun, some laughter. And I know it'll just be a treat for you every week.
Amen.
Or every time we release.
Yeah, that.
We may not be every week, but we will release.
And I think also fun, but information that you can use. That's the enlightening part. And we're going to give flowers. We're going to give flowers to Nigerians and others within our community that deserve their flowers while they're alive. And so, our stories as Nigerian-Americans matter. And so we think that through sharing these stories, we can connect with our audience, connect with our community, and build understanding. So this podcast is for everyone. Whether you're part of the Nigerian diaspora, curious about the culture, or just love a good conversation.
That sounds great. I've been looking forward to it, and I'm part of it. I can imagine just listening to it. I think you'll be in for a good treat. So we have another episode coming. Stay tuned for that. But we'll be discussing some of this reality TV genre that we It's pretty popular now on Netflix called Young, African, and Famous. They're not that young. They're not that famous. Some of them are, but they are all African. So we'll discuss how that intersects with just culture in general and tradition. So hope you look forward for that episode soon. You've been listening to the Shine Your Eye podcast, where the gist never ends. If you like this episode, give us a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen or watch us, and join the family. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, feedback, and ideas for future episodes by emailing us at shineyoureyepod@gmail.com or connecting with us on social media at Shine Your Eye Pod.
Till next time, shine your eye, stay sharp, and keep the gist flowing. See you soon on another episode.